There we go. There we go. We are live. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm here with the one and only Dr. Cody Goldman, my good
Hello,
friend,
everybody.
my confidant, and an amazing man.
Yeah,
Just blessing us with his presence and his mind-bending, spiritual and physical wisdom. That's what it is. And
I'm just,
those
I'm
of
just a,
you, what was that?
I'm just a mirror of you.
Just a mirror of each other. We're just a different version of ourselves, right? And here in this world. So here we are, part two about how to build emotional resilience. And obviously, you can probably tell that I'm excited from my hair that wasn't
Yeah,
done this morning. Been in coaching sessions all day, went out in public like this, yes, and I'm totally fine with it being what it is. So this is how I'm showing up today. And Cody's smiling.
I think dude. I think be yourself, man. Do your thing.
Yeah, I have no problem. I have no problem being myself. So, well, I'm excited to get back into this. So we've got 20 minutes on the clock, and we talked about what emotions are yesterday. We talked about why emotions are, why they're important. Kind of, we got a little bit out into the how, but today, instead of like talking about just emotions, we wanted to go into some tactics, some strategies, some ways that you and I both help ourselves and our clients work with emotions in a positive way to stay resilient, to stay on top of things, and to stay living at the full potential. Anything to add?
Yeah, I think yesterday we did a bit of the why. Why? So if you missed that, you may want to watch and walk that. Why would you want emotional resilience? Because I was thinking, you seen that title and like why the hell do I want that? Well, that's important. The why factor. And so watch that. But we really want to really drop into the how.
Yeah.
Um, now that we know the why, so absolutely, it's all good.
Yeah, so let's redefine like emotional resilience. Like, how do you define emotional resilience?
So yeah, I mean, of course, yesterday we started off by trying to find out the definition of even emotions, right? And so
Yeah,
we had different variations of that. But when you look at resilience, the ability to actually endure something, right? So it's important to kind of drop into that the ability to actually endure like what anything that comes your way.
yep,
And another way of saying that would be your ability to face something without flinching.
yeah,
So it's your what I call your confront level. And so here's an example: people that have a very low confront level, when they're confronted with anything that's uncomfortable, they'll either shower or like shower, cower away or like shy away. Right?
yeah,
Someone who
yeah,
has a very high confront level is totally fine going out and not worrying, about getting no's and being embarrassed and that kind of stuff. So that concept really applies to our conversation here.
yeah,
So it's like your emotional, you could almost call it emotional confront. So what is your capacity to confront your emotions? What's your capacity to actually have something come in? And before 40, mine was very low. So the only capacity I had was the capacity to feel good.
yeah, yeah,
And honestly, that's pleasure. But I have found in my life is a big problem with that is that I've gotten most of my growth in my life from going into pain, not going into pleasure. So
yeah.
you're really missing out on something really big. So the ability to face, confront, and be with your emotions is what I would say that is.
Yeah, and it's easier said than done, right, Cody? You're a very evolved guy. You're a man in my life that I highly respect for that. And if there's a man or woman in the audience is like, what the, that's no, I don't want to lean into that. Totally hear you. We want to include everyone in this, right? Cody and I have done a lot of work on ourselves in many, many, many different facets. I'm turning 44 this weekend. Same thing. I didn't really realize this stuff till later on. But I also want to add, it's really about how you're reacting to life, right? I like to look at it is two different ways. Like as what emotional resilience is as information comes to you, whether it's a loss of life, loss of a relationship, right? Those negative things that can happen, that no matter what happens, you stay resilient where it doesn't, your reaction isn't like, so if your reaction's a 10 or there's a 0, meaning no reaction of some people go from 0 to 100 in like an instant when they hear about something, right? oh
Yeah.
my, I mean, God, this happened. Some people can be, let's just say, more dramatic than others. um, for their own, maybe they're trying to get attention, or maybe they're just like, oh my God, I cannot believe this thing happened. And however you react is how you react. That's all good. What we're talking about is no matter what information comes across, whether it's life or death or something else or a disease or illness, that it doesn't rock your world so much that it completely takes you down. Now, this can happen to all of us, right? But your reaction, you can gauge your reaction based on this. And there's an amazing video I can post on Alan Watts talking about no matter what happens in your life, practicing that you're going to be okay, that it's going to work out, that you're still here, that it's going to be okay. It's a beautiful thing. Just no matter what challenge comes, that you just receive the information, feel the emotions that are there. Instead of like, if sometimes for me, it comes up right in my sternum area or my throat will lock up many times. And it's okay when that happens, like instead of just like, oh no, I don't want to do that. Instead of avoiding and pushing it aside, stop and lean into it, be with it, touch your throat, touch your stomach, touch whatever's going on. Be like, oh, wow. Say whatever you got to say, excuse yourself from the table or whatever's going on, but like really receive and be in it for a little bit. And that's kind of that starting point of the emotional resilience. So what we're talking about here are those kind of negative things that can happen in life that will kick the crap out of you and knock you over. And if it does, that's okay, because just as Stallone said, it's not about how hard you take the hits. It's if you get hit, knocked down, get back up, right? That's the emotional resilience we're talking about.
Yeah, it's about how many times you get back up, not how many times you're knocked down. And matter of fact, I looked at the word resilience.
Probably butchered that, but yes.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Well, I was looking up resilience because we like to look up definition of words, apparently, and I love that actually. But it says the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. So it's interesting because emotional resilience actually points to the difficult emotions. So I hadn't really even thought about that. I was like, oh yeah,
that's good. That's good.
Right? Yeah. How
that's really good. Say it one more time. Say it one more time, the definition.
Yeah. So the resilience is the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties.
Nice. Difficulties.
So, yeah. That's nice because emotions we tend to see on a polarity spectrum of good and bad. So emotional resilience is actually specifically like to withstand and recover from the difficult emotions. But I think that's also interesting too, because, let's just say someone gives you a ton of praise. Mm-hmm. That might be difficult, right? So that could also be difficult. But I think for the most part, yeah, totally. Yeah. For the most part, some of these harder ones to really withstand, ones that really, really matter. Let's say criticism, like, the ability to be with the fact that you're going to piss off just as many people as you're going to give pleasure to. That was a hard one for me as a people pleaser before 40. And, this really points towards leadership in areas of your life. The more you're willing to have people dislike you, the greater impact you're most likely going to have. So you could almost say your emotional resilience capacity equals your ability to actually make change in your life.
That's well said. Yeah. Okay. So one, we've established what it is, the definition of it. Two, let's just welcome everyone listening to this to have the awareness that stuff's going to happen. Difficult things are going to happen. And difficulty is your own definition of whatever's difficult. And that it's okay if it rocks your world. It's okay that it comes in. Relationship, right? It's relationships, health, and money are the biggest thing. Here's my fingers. Those three are the biggest ones. Those are the mega area categories in our life that really rock us the most. So when this happens, let's all just receive that we are human beings, and this stuff is going to hit us sometimes when we least expect it. And that resilience is to be able to get back up. So Cody, where do we start with this? When we're knocked down, when we're gut punched by life in this way, what is the grounding? What's the first step in building resilience outside of like, once you're aware, once it happens, then what?
And let me give a real life example. Yesterday, I got hit really hard. So my business, my coaching business, I run on WhatsApp. and my account was flagged as spam, which means you're banned on WhatsApp. So,
Right.
so in the morning, okay, I look at and I see, again, I've got 40, 50 clients in there that are relying on me daily. And so I looked in there and it says, you can no longer use WhatsApp. You've been banned from WhatsApp.
Oof.
So first of all is noticing, like you mentioned, reaction action. My first thing was to fucking react. Oh my God. Like, oh my God, what happened? What did I do? Right. And I started
Right.
searching.
So explain what came up in your body too, when you get to this.
Yeah.
Like, let's go through it.
So we see that, right? And so I saw that and I'm like, oh shit, what happened? And I'd say immediately a sense of pressure in my chest, but also a dropping in my stomach, I guess you could call it that. And a sense of panic. And then, so leaving this when I said, oh shit, what am I going to do? And then what next thing that happened was my mind started building all the stories about how I was going to lose clients, how I was going to lose money, and how my business is destroyed. That's literally what happened.
Yes. There we go.
Right.
It's okay.
So,
that's what happens, is this cascading of stuff. It's amazing how quickly we can go from a high to like, my life is falling apart and it's going to be a shitter in like no time.
Exactly. And you know, I wasn't as conscious, but I was watching it happen. And so I wasn't conscious of that. I was just literally, now I'm being conscious going back and watching it. And so I stayed in, I'd say fight or flight panic for a little while. I'd say for about an hour. It was in panic. And so I went to go try to fix the problem. And because I was in panic, you can repeal, sort of repeal or question the decision. Because I was in panic, I clicked that to repeal, and it has you give a facts about how you're not spam. Well, because I was in the fight or flight mode, I just wrote, I've never done spam before, and I hit send. Instead of
so so it was overwhelming you. You couldn't think clearly through those emotions, right? So I'm glad you're walking us through this, because I just want to pause you there, because like two major things happened to Mr. Cody. Absolute panic, right? The emotion started coming through, stomach drops through there. And then sometimes you just can't stop it. Sometimes this stuff, this comes out, but this is where I was saying, give yourself the awareness and the acceptance of like, it's going to happen, and let yourself go through it. So then you also started creating stories in your head that cascade you in a worse state. And then you weren't even clear enough to respond precisely. Right. And you also probably responded emotionally quickly, because everybody wants to react to it so fast. So I'm just breaking this down as we go. So this is great. Keep going.
Yeah, great job breaking it down. It's good to use a real life example. Otherwise, we're like, yeah, I don't think I've been able to pull up the specificity and not have one like this.
Yeah.
So because of that, I couldn't think straight, and so I would have, had I was I thinking straight, I would have sent like, hey, I'm a doctor. I work with patients on here, and like I send a lot of messages because I follow up my patient. I could have sent some quality information, but I didn't. So once I realized, and I started going on Google and searching what happens when your account closes, right? And then that's when I started realizing like WhatsApp is shut down all email communication. There is no customer service. There's no phone calls. The only thing you have is that button and your response for them to view and respond. And then I got even more freaked out because I didn't do it right. I sent like, I never sent spam,
Yeah. Come on, man.
So, and this is important in that story, because yes, I'm still taking action in the charge. And I like calling the emotions that have not been let to pass through charge. And charge, it literally gets you charged up, and it makes you heavier and dense. So this is literally what happened. I'm going through for about an hour, researching, trying to figure it out, checking my phone again. And I just get the same message. You've been banned on WhatsApp. You can no longer message anyone. I'm like, and then every time I read the message, I got the bigger story. The story is, I'm done. I'm not going to talk to my patients ever again. So then here's something unique happened. Something unique happened. I was fine. I found myself in panic, and I literally had a thought. Man, the stuff I'm doing right now is not helping. Oh shit, Cody.
Like your work, you mean?
Yeah.
Or the stuff you're doing to WhatsApp.
WhatsApp is not helping.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And I had this big awareness, which was, you're not doing what you teach others to do in this moment. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm always teaching people to go sit in the emotion, but I'm not doing that. And I was like, it was time. It was like, are you going to be like hypocrite and tell everyone what to do and not do it? Or are you going to do it? And so I literally was
Are you going to be a good messenger?
Yep. Yeah. I stopped that. I stopped all the communication, and I've got a couch, a meditation couch. I went and sat on my couch. I went around the screen there. Damn. But I went and sat on the couch. Right. And I literally sat, and I'll give you my process. Took a deep breath, and I went into my body. And I find going into your body, I would have never thought this had someone just told me this, and I have not experienced it. But going into your body to access your emotions is a total amazing hack.
Yeah.
If you try to go in
and if there's somebody, Cody, real quick, if there's somebody who's like, what the F are you talking about? Go into your body. Let's break it down.
Yeah, totally. So sit down, no people around you, no music, nothing going on, no stimulation. Close your eyes and ask yourself simply, what do I feel in my body? That's it. What do I feel in my body? Because if you ask what emotion am I feeling, you'll get twisted up. Don't ask that. What am I feeling in my body? And so watch this. You go in, and I'll drop into my body and literally just feel it. And I go, oh my gosh, I have pressure in my chest. That's what I feel, pressure in my chest. Whatever I feel, I then pretend I'm on a diving board, and I dive right into the middle of the feeling. Now, I say this because what all of us do is the opposite. What I've always done is the opposite. I feel pressure in my chest. I'm going to run the other direction. And there's many reasons for that. We've been taught that pressure in your chest and anxiety and all these things is so bad, it's going to kill you. But it's quite the opposite. If you dive into the middle of it and you let yourself be in it, so you almost like imagine yourself being in the middle of the tension. And what happens when you do that is it will get worse, which is where people stop, meaning it gets bigger. So it got bigger and bigger and bigger, but I've done this long enough to know when it gets bigger, you're on the right track. When it gets worse, you're on the right track. And when you do this, your mind will tell you, wasting your time, you got better stuff to do. Your mind will always tell you that when you go sit in your emotions. My mind does.
You got this thing to go do. Nope, you're wasting your time. All those things will come over almost in an instance, like 10,000 things like you got to go do. And it's trying to get you out of that state.
Yep. Exactly. And so when it gets worse and worse and worse, now remember one of the big reasons the mind does this is the mind's trying to protect you. So the purpose, there's many purposes, but one of the big primitive purposes of our brain is for survival. So it perceives a threat. So it perceives pain, and you're walking towards pain. So it must rebel. So you let your mind, you go, thank you, mind, for helping to protect me. I appreciate you. I'm walking towards some territory that you are not familiar with, and I see how scared you are. That's literally what I tell my mind. Otherwise, it keeps going and going, right? So I acknowledge, you go, thanks for protecting me. I know how scared you are. It's about to get way scarier for you. But it's so important to understand that when you are dropping into the feeling, your mind's not dropping in, you are dropping in. And there's a big difference between you and your mind. We can chat about that at some point. Mm-hmm. So as you're in it, it gets bigger and bigger. And it'll get to a peak where it's really bad. And it got big. I'm like I'm feeling my breath, and right, it's getting bitter. And there's two statements that help. Relax your face, relax your shoulders, and drop in. The bigger and more intense it gets, the more you let go and drop in. That's the key. And you'll notice it's a way. This is what energy does. Energy waves do this. You go, it's worse. When you get to that peak, boom, it drops back down, and oh my God, I feel better. And in that moment is when positives and negatives come together and you achieve equilibrium or neutrality or love and appreciation. And that's the moment. So you don't want to make a decision like I did in the high point of the wave. Oh shit, it's bad. But then what will happen is or it's good, right? Oh my God, it's amazing. It's bad. It goes through both parts of this wave, right? So in other words, what happens, it'll drop down and go, oh man, I'm not going to recover from this. You know what? It's okay. These things happen. No, it's not going to be. And let yourself wave through that until it just chills. And at that moment is when I was thinking clearly. And so here's the thought. Okay, now what should I do? And I said, okay, they said they're going to give me 24 hours to respond. So I'm going to wait in 24 hours. if I'm not approved, I'm going to switch to a new platform for coaching, and I'll go contact my clients. If I am approved, it's okay. I'm back on WhatsApp. And that was it. And I stopped seeking. Also, the other thing I did was I'm going to take action and actually text my patients. So I went to every single patient. I text them, hey, WhatsApp, ban my account. I'm here for you. If you need me today, just shoot me a message. So that was what I got from letting emotions pass through and actually making logical decisions.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love this. I hope this is so helpful for everyone else to walk this through, right? We all have these kind of experiences. Now, what I want to do is, Dr. Cody, after this, like, what are the learnings here? What are the learnings for all of us as you're opening up the kimono of your experience here? Well, one that I picked up was just as you're allowing yourself to go through that bell curve, right? That bell curve and coming out the other end, allowing it to go all the way through. Once you start to feel aligned, you'll actually notice a huge difference as you're coming down. Then there's maybe a few waves. Finally, it's like that deep breath is like, oh, okay, I got through it. And it's relieving. You feel a different sense in your body, and that's a good time to recheck. And another learning is that you also checked in. It's like, hey, what's the next best thing? I like to ask, what's the next best action for me now? Right? What's the next best step I can take to resolve this matter? But you're coming from not a place of that heightened or on the way up to that heightened stress and that all that tension and that stuff. Here, you're making a decision out of clarity and back into your higher self, back into your root, back into like where you're grounded, which is where you want to be. Thirdly, sometimes these things happen to us to allow those things to come through, to understand, oh, it's actually time. You're growing, Dr. Cody. WhatsApp's not going to be good for you. Sometimes a higher self or life has a way of telling us it'd be nicer if just a higher self would just come in and be like, knock, hey, you're going to do this. That'd be great. Some people receive that. Some people don't. Other times it comes through lessons with emotions. So sometimes it's a way of like saying, hey, we're going to do this thing to Dr. Cody so he gets the heck out of WhatsApp and moves on to this better platform that's going to take his business to a whole nother level. Great learnings. This is what it's all about. As this stuff comes in, these emotions are, like we've talked about before, data points. These are messages coming through to help guide us on our journey if we just surrender to them.
Yeah, love everything you said, man. Matter of fact, was going to capitalize because what it forced me to do was I started searching other platforms, and it's interesting because I found WhatsApp Business. And I realized what's interesting is like now, and that's what I've been doing, throughout the day, is researching WhatsApp Business. I won't go into detail, but WhatsApp Business is actually designed for coaches or people working with customers, and allows you to do all the things I'm doing in WhatsApp. It allows you to have canned messages and out of office replies. It literally is going to make my life way easier. So it ended up making me look, because I am expanding. How am I going to work with 500, 100, 1,000? And how I'm going to have coaches under me working with this? I can now use the WhatsApp actually business part of this to expand. So it really did lead me towards that. But I just, it's so funny how easy it is, even coaching people, to feel their emotions and knowing that I need to do it. And I didn't do it right off the bat. It's like, I'm not punishing myself, but it's like, I think just giving a little leeway for people listening, it's probably not going to happen right away, when something comes up. And that's fine,
And that's okay. That's okay. It happens to me too. This is like, and even all the people that you see with millions of followers and big gurus and authors and all that, they're human as well. And they're just more practiced at being a great messenger. And Cody, I want to acknowledge you and point out that, yeah, you may not have caught on the first or second thing there, but you decided to be a better messenger. You decided to say, I'm going to live the messages I'm giving my clients and other people. And I commend you. That's why you and I are on here. We're the guys that do that. We choose to hey, I don't want to just tell you to go do stuff. There's several times in my life where I saw these very successful, let's say, supplement company owners who are out there to make people healthier and do all that, but they're overweight and just enjoying their money and living and drinking and all this. I'm like, that doesn't feel in alignment. Why don't you take care of yourself and be a better messenger? Well, that was their place in life. That's where they were, no judgment, but it's like, hey, let's really live by our values and what we're saying we're doing. So congrats on that. Now,
Oh yeah.
what just real quick, what if you hadn't listened to this emotion? Let's we're not going to create that future, but I just want to say, like, what if you didn't listen to yourself? You got pissed off, you threw something down, whatever. Where could, because in a timeline that happened, right? There's a timeline
Yeah.
where that might have happened. So interesting how just that emotion that came up for you, this challenge, this problem became a massive opportunity for you. And how do you feel about that problem now?
Yeah, you're saying what would have happened had I not listened to the emotion, right?
Exactly. What if you
I mean,
stayed in it and you didn't go up the bell curve? You just kind of like stayed in it, got pissed off, and threw some other messages at them and stuff, which some people do.
yeah. Well, one of the important things, because you guys know that I'm one of my missions on this planet is to truly help people live an inspired life. And my main way I do that is by helping them retune in with their body. And so one of the things that happens inside the body when you do this, sympathetic response. So fight or flight would be staying in there. And so there's a whole series of chemical reactions that occur when you're in fight or flight. Number one, your blood flow goes away from digestion, it goes into your muscles, eyes dilate, and so you're ready to fight. These are the things that create adrenal fatigue for people. So I most likely would have slept terrible, which last night I slept phenomenal. I would have slept terrible. I'd have been drained. I couldn't go to the gym. Adrenal glands have been fatigued. And if you take that small example, but you get it over the course of time, this is a more important piece of all this. Anything you don't let move through you gets stored inside you. I want to make sure that people are listening to that because
One more time.
Yeah, anything you don't let move through you gets stored inside you.
Nice.
And let's give a quick little example for people. Let's say you and I go for a hike and we go out here in Colorado, and man, it's gorgeous. The weather's literally perfect. Sky's amazing. Sun's coming down. We're just having the time of our life. And we see a snake. And you said, man, I'm gonna jump over the snake. But as you jump over the snake, it bites you. And I gotta end up, you're passing out. I gotta end up trying to suck out the blood, and I gotta carry you back. It's terrible, dude. And you're freaking out. So let's say
you're
that
freaking
occurred.
out because it bit me on the butt.
Yeah, that's really even worse. I'm freaking out now. How important is my friend's life, right? Yeah. So let's say then we go for a hike a month later. Okay, so this is an example, first of all, of an experience that didn't get to pass through you. You didn't let it pass through you. We go for a hike a month later, and you see a stick, and you think it's a snake. Every little thing's a snake. What you don't let pass through you continues to affect you. Any past charges will continue to influence your future. So no matter how great the hike is, you can't enjoy the hike because you never let that experience move through you. That's a really important thing. Now,
beautiful.
What blew my mind, though, one more piece of the story, what blew my mind was this is the negative. What about the positive? Let's say you and I go for a hike and it's a beautiful day. And dude, there's butterflies. And man, we were feeling like psychedelic with no psychedelics just because we're vibing it. And it's incredible. Okay. We have an incredible experience. Well, let's just say that happened. 30 days later, we go on another hike and we bring people with us. And what's interesting is if we didn't let that amazing experience pass through us, we are now judging this current hike based on that one. And if there's a cloud in the sky, there's no more butterflies, the grass one is green, we go, this hike kind of sucks. This is why when you invite your friend to a restaurant of which you had a great experience or a club, and then it sucked, it's because you didn't let the experience pass through you. So all things that don't pass through you get stored inside you.
So well put. I love the example. Can we all relate to the snake thing or to that example? Like these things happen, right? Things happen early childhood. I still know people today that are afraid of dogs because they got bit or something happened. But that was a one-time thing. And that doesn't mean this dog's going to do that, right? These things we hold on to. It is time to let go. And that is the big theme of these talks that we do here. So Cody, thank you for that story. Thank you for opening up your kimono, your experience here. And I really hope that everything goes well with WhatsApp Business. And of course, I'm always here to support whatever you need to do there for your group. But Everybody, thank you for listening again. We're at time again, but hopefully that helped break down from awareness of what's coming up in your life, those triggers, those things that happen, to then moving into a place of going within to build that emotional resilience one step at a time, noticing where your emotions are and talking to your brain, talking to your ego when it tries to come in and derail you from your process that it does not know what's going on, and loving it and saying, hey, you can just kind of step aside, I'm going to do my thing, to feeling it all the way through the bottom of the bell curve, all the way out, and then asking yourself, what is the next best step? What is the next best thing for me to go move through? And to come make a decision from a more grounded, energetic, and spiritual place instead of in that high stress. So we just illustrated that whole thing. Cody, anything else to say before we go on this?
No, just I love these conversations. And I really hope if you guys are watching this, please comment on whatever platform and respond. We'd love interaction with you guys. And AJ and Aaron James and I are both are really passionate about helping people. We love it. And so please comment, and we want to interact with you. So thanks for being on.
Yeah, thank you so much. And here's a link for tonight. Actually, very, very soon, I am going to be doing my breath work. Cody, you're not going to be able to make it tonight.
No, but you guys should definitely jump on this for sure if you're watching.
Yeah, it's going to be every 4:30 p.m. every Wednesday. I do a $1 million breath for leaders, entrepreneurs, whomever. It's about abundance and wealth and leadership and all this, but it's breath work with hypnotherapy. So come on and join me. There's a link in the thing. It may not work in Instagram, but you can come click on that. Cody, always a pleasure. We'll get back on it next week. And everybody, thank you so much. Any comments, please put down below, and we'll see you next week on Tuesday at 11:30, and I think Wednesday at 11:30 too, right?
Yes, you got it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, bye guys.